Okay. All right. Here we go. It's like I feel like I just made a whole Spider-Man move. What was that? Guys, you know what just happened? I started a room and then I closed it and then I had to open it again and I couldn't hear myself and I couldn't like the mic was not on. And then I tried to switch the audio settings to high and then it couldn't switch. So I had to leave the app completely, swipe up, come back, and the room was open. And then I'm seeing the people in the room. Good morning, Danielle. And I'm like, wait. So I jump back in the room on mute, then I unmute, and now you guys can hear me. That's literally the story that just happened in the past 5 minutes. So I don't know why that glitch happened, but yeah, we made it. So good morning, everybody, and hope you are all doing well. Good morning, Danielle. Again, good morning, Boogie. I'm gonna follow both of you. Danielle, follow. It's a new day, Boogie. Let me follow you too. I create opportunity through branding and business consulting. That's dope. Danielle, Mobile Notary Public. Okay, that's nice. Nice to connect with you both. Definitely, let's talk and feel free to be here with me on stage. You know, you never know who's talking on Clubhouse. So thanks for joining. Hey, Boogie. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are
I'm
you?
good. Where you calling in from?
I am from Houston, Texas.
No way. Me too.
Oh, shut
I'm
up.
I'm out here.
Awesome. Awesome.
That's so good. That's good. Okay. Nice to meet you. Tell me about like more what you do because I read the first line. I was like, huh, okay. Then there's more to read. So just tell us about yourself, like in, a minute.
Oh, okay. So I am Erica Boogie Doyle. I am a kind of all around just business person. I do professionally, like by day, I'm a tax specialist and I do a lot of business consulting and just help people get their business structured, you know, plan their taxes and just provide them with a lot of strategy. Um, in the and I'll say in my past life, I'm not that old, but I've been doing web and graphic design and a little bit of marketing since I was like 14. So, before I got into tax preparation and business consulting, I was a full time web and graphic designer. And so I've done digital billboards and marketing before. When I saw the room title, I'm sure Clubhouse suggested it to me because it's some stuff that I'm naturally interested in. So I'm like, let me see what's going on, see what's new in the industry, and just try to learn something. So thank you for allowing me up on stage. I'm excited to hear from you.
Thank you, Boogie. I appreciate that. And I'm glad the algorithm is algorithming, if I can say it like that, because it's timed for people to find, you know, rooms and topics that they love. And it's very intentional because if this room title was different, I don't think anyone would be here because it would be another audience or it'd be another set of people. It wouldn't be the same people. It may be the same people, but the difference would be really clear on, and if you see how even the app has changed, we're all house members here. There are no followed by speakers or, others in the room, and that will happen, when the room stays on. So the app is growing and I'm so excited about the growth as well. Steph came in the room. Good morning, Stephanie. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Definitely looking forward to connecting with you very soon. Hopefully we can get to talk because there's so much that you're doing for communities that is so big, and I would love to be part of that in any capacity, from a distance, from close, from SEO, from Pinterest, from displayed, from Billboard, whatever it is, just to shed that light. But I don't know what your business plan is, so I'm just here just trying to make things vocal. You never know. So I just wanted to say hi to you. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Favor. I got to tell you, the excitement that came through me when I saw this title come from you. This is such a dynamic space, and I just wanted to say good morning. And if you have space in your room where you want contributions, I'll be glad to have this conversation with you and your guest.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This is going to be a great topic because I think a lot of us would want to, you know, learn more about how these things are and how they work for, our businesses long term. So we're going to be doing this for an hour. And if you have any question, if anything you hear gives you a light bulb and you're like, oh, wait, something came in, let me find out. Text it, put in the chat, or come up and let's talk about it. Or anyone that's on stage as well, just stop me, interrupt me so that I can help you answer that question because I'm here to help. And as you're listening to the link I put just above is the workshop made easy sign up link. And that is if you want to sign up and learn more about exclusive updates on workshops that I'm going to be having, because these are things that, yes, I'm talking about them on Clubhouse and I've been doing them and talking about them for a long time, but I also want to show you how you can do it for your business. And what I realized, I've done this for about 5 clients this past month, and it's new to them because I think what really triggered it was when one of our clients, he does, if you know the God is Dope t-shirt brand, they're the ones that printed it, like when it was going crazy. And they're in Atlanta, and I used to live in Atlanta. So I'm still connected and I love the community there too. And one of my friends connected me. He's in the fitness community. He has a huge fitness expo where they literally go on tour every single maybe 2 3 months in a different state, going out, working out together, fitness. It's like a family. It's really nice. So he introduced me to one of the people in the community, and they sell t-shirts. They sell, literally embroidery t-shirts. Now they just did a whole school event, teaching school kids how to use their skills to teach, heat press, just literally showing them like the actual work so that they can actually apply those skills when they're young, so that when they can grow they can be entrepreneurs, business owners, and take care of themselves and their families, right? So these are companies that we love to work with. And he came to me in the middle because we just rebuilt their website. It's called rbyprints.com. Check it out, rbyprints.com. And when he told me that, yo, Favor, guess what? I'm like, what? He's like, guess how much this billboard is charging me for a month? I said, I don't know. I don't want to guess the wrong thing. It's like 3,000. I'm like, for one billboard? He's like, yeah, is it digital? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. Just when he said no, that's when I knew there was a problem, because a lot of businesses, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this, Stephanie or Boogie. A lot of businesses are spending money on ads, on billboards, on flyers, on, anything that you can call marketing, even if it's guerrilla marketing. But the return on that investment is not a cash flow positive because they don't really know the audience they're connecting with. Would anyone like to contribute?
I think you're 100% correct. No, audience is extremely important. And learning your demographics and target marketing and even benchmarking to learn those things will make the difference in your business and the success rate, so that way you know how to design your flyers or your graphics and even your logo and how to pull in your ideal clients. Absolutely.
100%. Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Steph.
Hi, Favor. You guys forgive me. My mute button's it's acting up this morning. But yes, specifically, Favor, I deal with, and I changed my PTR just to give you understanding. I deal with digital billboards. I'm a national ATM operator. And so what that means is out of my 8,000 locations, I have an opportunity or a placement on 8,000 out of home marketing screens. That's an ancillary product in my specific business. But speaking to the marketing aspect of DOOH or any kind of digital out of home billboards, the what now we've beta tested this for a couple of years before we determined which networks to work with, how they could run analytics properly for the clients. And it speaks to what you're saying. If someone wants to be on top of a terminal of mine and they need to be in front of a specific client, they're going to have good data behind it for that ad spend, right? So now I will tell you this, and I'll put some links in the chat for anyone who's really interested in this. because this is a lane I call home, especially I've lived it the past 2 years in research. But just in this past quarter, when the new reports came out, the out of home marketing for everyone who looks at billboard advertising, it closed on the second quarter of this year at from marketing departments at just under 3 billion. So that lets you know what this space is getting from people. Think of Times Square, right? Think of all the world we live in. Just think of all the digital you see. And bang for the buck, if I can put you in front of exactly who you need to be, you slap a landing page on in front of their face on my screen, you funnel them through wherever you want to go at say 5 cents a pop as opposed to 3 4 bucks a pop. Look at the power of that. So for me, this is, like I say, this is home. I see the power in it. I see the spin trends in it. I'm going to post some great information in the chat, Favor, for anyone who really wants some current research on this. Because when I tell you it's powerful, the shift to digital billboards is where it's at. I happen to be in a space where if somebody needs to transact on one of my machines, think of the circle turning when you're downloading something. As their transaction's going, I can stick their face right in front of you. They have nowhere to go. So they're going to see your product. They're going to see your service. And even speaking to hyper local marketing, say you're a local broker and you need to farm an area of real estate. I have, say, 30 condo towers with ATMs in that location. I can stick you right in front of their face. They can't get away from you. If nothing else, you're putting your brand out there so you can brand yourself, even if they're not an immediate client. So I just wanted to add that, and I don't want to overhog the mic. I'm sorry I get so excited, Favor, but this is just too big to ignore.
No, thank you so much for that insight. It's very important to look at it that way because most business owners don't even see that opportunity. They don't even know how to get in there. Like to the gas station where somebody is like, as soon as I don't know, it's happened to me before, but I think now I'm used to it. But I think the first time it happened, I was a little startled. And I want to see if you'll put a one in the chat because I want to know if this is I'm the only one. If it happened to you, put a one in the chat. If it didn't happen to you, put a two in the chat, right? Have you ever gone to the gas station and then you literally start putting gas in, and then all of a sudden something starts screaming at you in the back, like maybe like a song or like a or something that's just going crazy, but it's catching your attention in the middle of you pumping gas. Put a one in the chat if you've ever seen that, and if you got like really startled, and put a two in the chat if you've never seen that before. Okay, so that could possibly happen. Okay, Boogie said one. Okay, I thought I was the only one. So, Boogie, what was your experience like, and what were you thinking? Like, were you thinking about the advertiser at that time, or were you just wondering, like, why this thing on?
Oh no, my marketing brain immediately said, "Oh, this is genius," because I can't go anywhere. I have to sit here and listen to this entire ad until I get through pumping my gas. So I loved it. I thought it was genius.
Yeah, it's a whole game changer. And even like Steph is talking about with the ATM, you can't leave until you get your money out of that ATM machine. There's no way you're going anywhere until that is complete because you want to, and by the time you're waiting, that process that it's showing you there's an ad playing, and then also the number of seconds the ad is playing for matters. Because if it's playing for over 6 seconds, that tells you that if it's 50% watch time, that's about 3 seconds. So those are three frames that you can actually attract somebody in 3 seconds to make an informed decision. So sometimes when we think about these spaces, yeah, it's a screen, but everybody can get on camera, everybody can get on screen, but are you going to get off screen and someone's going to look for what you said on screen? Or are they just going to forget about what you said because you were wasting their time? Or you are not the right person for them at the time. So that's where also that zip code marketing comes in because yes, we can be on digital billboards, we can run ads in Times Square. We can go all the way to the airport and run an ad by the lobby, by the terminal, by the concourse. It's possible, right? Because you see those billboards, you come out of a train, boom, you see a huge screen, it's glowing, you see something there. It's probably not you're not paying attention to it, but imagine the number of people walking there per hour that are looking at it or taking a picture or actually care about what you're talking about. So It's those things. And Lauren says, I boycott when they do that at the gas pump, so I'll never buy anything and I make sure I never do. You see what I'm talking about? So there's the people have different. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that, because a lot of people just, you can't guess. Like, you have to really know your data. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to do it here, here, here. Because sometimes when people are putting their gas, they don't think about a transaction. They already made a transaction. Right? They're just pumping gas. So to think about another transaction in the middle of that, compared to an ATM when they're not making a transaction, but they're actually receiving something. The transaction might be a service charge, or it might just be your bank, right? So you're receiving. So on that receiving end, psychologically, you're not thinking about fight or flight. We're thinking about receive, calm, right? You're thinking about all the things you're going to do. You're planning, right? You're in planning mode. You're in thinking mode. You're in action mode, right? So when you're pumping gas, you're also in action mode, but it's a reverse because you got to go, right? So all those things is to also say, like, if somebody put $5 gas and somebody put $50 gas, and you have an ad running, that $5 would, by the time the ad plays and the gas is done, and the guy puts it back into the pump, that's it. You didn't get your 30 seconds, right? So we don't think about those things. Like, I think about the numbers, the frames, the accuracy, the detail, because those are the major things that are actually going to give you, long-term research and long-term depth. Because that's what we do, intelligence research. It's not just SEO. That's great. Everyone slaps SEO like a band-aid now, but it's not. It's deep work. It's research. It's consumer behavior. Zip code marketing. The reason why you live where you live is because you want your kids to go to a good school, right? So the zip code is also going to match the quality of people that are going to be there. So that means even the gas prices are going to be different. If you pay attention to how gas prices are, the higher the gas price is, the more, I don't know, it's very subjective, but it gets to a point where you're like, okay, this place is actually more expensive to live in, and the gas price is also as high compared to some places where the gas may be the exact opposite, and you can still live in a very comfortable, lifestyle. So you have to look at those things as well. And okay, Stephanie, thank you so much. I'm gonna check it out for sure. Appreciate that. Thank you. It's it's very important to look at these things, because gone are the days where I'll just say, hey, here's this link, because you're going to get that link, and then you're going to read it, you're going to watch it, you're going to sign up, and then you're not going to take action. The ones who take actions are the ones that do research to the point where when they take action, they know exactly what they're doing. Because, like yesterday, I was talking to a client, actually, let me even tell you how this client came. They do mobile drug testing and DNA paternity testing in Memphis, Tennessee. And this was pure organic, like, to the point where I'm like, this SEO really works. Sometimes I amaze myself, I surprise myself. So I was just chilling random day, and my friend gets off an Uber, and he's like, Favor, I just got out of an Uber, and this guy was talking about his mobile clinic, and he's trying to get some help. He's all the way in Memphis. And he wants to get this mobile clinic going. It's a mobile drug testing. If you go to drugtesters.net, you'll see it. And amazing guy, calm guy. So I said, okay, let's connect. So I said, okay, give him my link so he can get on a call with me. So I sent him my business card, and then he responded quickly. I was like, okay, this guy must be serious. So, because these days I can't tell, people say, yeah, let's work. And then 30 days later, nobody, crickets. Right. And that thing annoys me, because I'm like, you don't want to take action, but you want to take your time. But anyway, this guy responded back quickly, and then I said, okay, let me do an audit, because usually when a client comes and they want to work with us, the first thing I do before I even tell my team, the first thing I do is I audit their website. I'll get my AI assistant. It's gonna scrub through your whole domain inside out, tell me exactly what's wrong, the quality, everything, and then I'll get a report, send it back to you, and then you will use that report to determine whether you want to continue or leave it like that, because there are 1.9 billion websites in the world, and 82% of those websites haven't been updated in the last 6 months. So if we're getting towards the end of the year, imagine the number of people who are still having 2022 at the bottom of their website in 2024. There are a lot of them, and that is a big miss, because You think it's just text. It's HTML, it's updates, it's modification, it's AI, it's intelligence. Like you have to update your servers. You have to update. That's why you update your phone. That's why you update your app. That's why you update your profile picture, because there's updates to be made, right? You renovate your house, right? You update your firmware, you update your software, right? So why are you not updating your content? That's a big thing, because if you're thinking about zip code marketing, you find out how things work. I'll give you an example with real estate. There's a client that we're working with, and she's amazing, and she's very authentic, very full of integrity, and it's just straight up, like no child's play, right? And she's been trying. I told her, hey, it's good you're getting reviews on Google, but Google is not the only place you should be getting reviews. You should also be on Yellow Pages. You should be on Yandex. You should be on Yext. You should be on, because if somebody types your name on Google, they're gonna find all the realtor.com, HR.com, Zillow.com, all the great sites you can be on, right? But your website is missing. And that's real estate that you are missing, because all that traffic could be going to you first at the top, and then you link them to where they need to go. That's quality control. That's quality assurance, and that's quality and demand, or I can say on demand, because now I type your name, I see your website, I see your about us, I see your story. I even told us, because we're building her website. As soon as I get off this, I was about to say Zoom call, this Clubhouse room, I'm getting on a phone call with her, because I showed her a digital billboard she could be on. We've chosen two. One is at Kroger, where you have the lock screen. Another one is like by the billboard on the way on the exit. And these are homes that are like 750K and above, you know. So, and she showed it to me. I was like, these homes, instead of you getting three homes and stressing with three clients, you can make that with one client in this home, because they go to the gym. I saw an LA Fitness around there. So if they go to the gym and then they go to Kroger, then that means they're probably going to the gym. They'll see your ad when they're leaving. And then when they go to Kroger before they leave, they'll see you again. So you're pretty much within their day to day activity, which means you like to work with people who like to work out. You like to work with people who have time for, health benefits, who are time for family, they cook, like it's not just, oh, I'm going to the gym. Like you're now going beyond the surface. It's not like the gas pump where you just meet anybody, right? You're going to zip codes that actually have residential like radiuses that allow you to control the market within a field that you provide a solution for, that they can see that you can actually give them. And she lives in those zip codes too. So it's not even hard. So it's not like I'm looking in. She's in that zip code. They just downsized, right? Because, all their kids are grown and everything. So it's beautiful, and I'm just like, I did the research and I was like, this zip code, definitely. I already know the map. I just saw the map. I was like, this is your map. If you want to continue here, before we run any billboard, we need to build a website, because it's going to be vanity for me to put you on this billboards. They go and type your name, and then all these other websites get first party data and you miss out. You've spent money and you're losing data. Like that's a two-edged sword that you're losing on, you know? So you have to get that back, get that control back, build your website. Let's do that within at least a 2 to 4 week cycle. Get everything in, all your assets, your brand, your colors, your templates, anything that you need to do, SEO, boom. Because people just create websites and then they forget about SEO. Or they think about SEO after the website is built, and then they would have to hire someone else or hire the same people, and then they don't do the job they're supposed to do. I was just talking to a friend. She runs a dental company here in Houston, and even her website, it's great. It looks amazing. But I told her, hey, this is your report. Your report says that you're only listed on 3 local directories when you have access to 67 local directories. Like, would you rather be on 3? Would you rather be on Google, let's say Brown Book and Yelp, right? Or would you rather be on Google, Brown Book, Yelp, Siri, Alexa, Chamber of Commerce, Yandex, Yext, YP.com, Yellow Pages, Foursquare, right? Like I know these sites now, Opendi, because they're all like these are sites I see every day now because we're connecting businesses to these citations that you'd have to pay individually for. And you're gonna pay a hefty fee for them individually. And then who are you even gonna talk to even get access to that? Because research says that 60% of the people who use Alexa at home mostly use that when they're home alone or when they're the only one at home. So 60% of people who use Alexa are home alone when they are asking Alexa a question. What happens to the 40%? That's still a lot because you could be having a party and you just say, hey, Alexa, could you turn this playlist on? Right? Now, if your business is in that location, and let's say somebody's home alone or they're just trying to leave the house and they're saying, hey, where's the nearest dentist I can go and get a check-in or something like that, and you're actually using Siri or Alexa to ask that question, or Apple Intelligence now, because the iPhone 16 is out, right? What response do you think is going to give you if you're supposed to be the responsive answer and you're not there? That's a missed opportunity. And it shows you you're missing out on 1.5 million people in this directory. You're missing on 470K people in this directory. It will just tell you, it's like showing you missed opportunity. That's literally what it's saying. I think I think when a missed opportunity happens, it hurts, but I don't think it hurts as it hurts if somebody realized if they were on the other side of the fence, what they could be doing and what time they could have saved. Because it's too expensive, or I'm not ready to purchase, or I don't think it's somebody, I paid before and I didn't get what I wanted. All excuses because you kind of quit halfway. If you only just plugged it in and see what happens, boom. Now with the billboard that we're doing for one of our clients in New Orleans, she's by the Superdome and we're running 2 billboards. So I called her one day. I was like, hey, how much do you usually get calls on? She's like, 2 calls on average, because 2 calls are enough because it's appointment only. They book online. So it's very seamless. But calls, 2, which is fine. That 2 calls turned to 6 calls in a week because we've been running her ads for about 2 weeks now, and we're looking at both of them and we're like, okay, we're gonna shut this one down because it's also good for A/B testing, right? It's not just good to run ads on billboards like consistently. You have to also know the time of day. So we took 2 hours in the morning, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., and then we took rush hour 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Sorry, to 5 p.m. because I wanted to do a 5-hour lap. So within the 5-hour lap, within a 24-hour cycle, we're reaching about 15,000 people a day because we're reaching about maybe 250 to 2,500 people per hour on each side. So when you do the average, you're like, okay, these are people who are traveling in, and she's doing lip fillers, right? For like 350. That's a sale price. When I was in Dallas, when I was running this ad, I was looking outside my window and I was like, oh, they do it here in Dallas for $4.99. How much is it in other states? How much is it in other cities? So I'm doing my own audience intelligence research just by driving, just by looking outside, because I'm always in market mode. I'm always in like, okay, I see that billboard. Okay, that makes sense. And people don't know that data because when I told you earlier that the person who was my client who does printing was told it's 3,000 for one board, a traditional board, an actual like signboard. I asked him, did they tell you you're going to get analytics, data, research? They were like, no, he just said, just pay it up and we'll put it up there and that's it. I'm like, no, that's not how we do business in 2024. Because what you've done is you've just given him the power to choose instead of you controlling the quality that you want to use within the community you're creating for your product, right? Because without a community, why do you have a product if there's no community? Because the product consumes the community consumes the product, right? So if the product is on demand, who's going to come? The community, right? Steph, I want to ask you this too. Like, what are your thoughts on this when people hear these things and when it comes to business, small businesses, mid-size, and also large businesses?
Yeah, well, and I just come off of a national convention where we discussed this. And to your point, what we specifically were looking at was hyper local marketing through the digital billboards. And because now with the power of AI, and when I say AI, I don't say it generically, with the integrations of AI in digital billboard technology, now anyone who is trying to specifically aim towards building a specific community, that power is there because the analytics have become so accurate. You can target, like if I walk out of my home right now and say, let's see who's in the audience. I don't know, Marie. Say Marie needs something right in front of my face and nobody else's, you got it. That's how precise the AI integrations have become on the analytics. So, like I said, if you're looking at a hyper local community, you've got it. It's there. If you get, and these networks, once the networks that distribute the billboards, when they go out and they contract with the ad agencies for, say, not so hyper local, right? They can put you on a screen. You might be paying the same thing, but you might be right up next to McDonald's or one of these big boys, right? That has budgets beyond any of our, our reasoning. But the point is, speaking to community, I just want to impress upon people. And like I said, this is not my core business. So I hope that everyone reaches out to you, Favor, because you do this so well. But I just want to impress upon people the power of it, the power of hyper localized reaching. It's like reaching out and getting to knock on the door of every person in your community, AKA your target audience. So, I mean, I've seen it and I see it on the back end all the time. So, I just want to impress upon everyone how powerful it is.
You are so right about that. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I've also thought about it too in ways where if you know there's a conference going on and the conference is gathering, maybe your community, the people that you want to target, you know the commercial address for that location, right? A lot of people are like, yeah, that's the address. We go zip code. Like, it's for me, it's an obsession now because it's actually fun to really do research and know about homes. Where do people want to go? Is it a 3 bedroom plus? Is it a studio? What's the price? Like, there's so much detail. And it's fun for me because I can use the AI assistant, crunch the numbers, go beyond that. We're doing that for churches now, build billboards like, hey, church is close by, come through. Like, there's so many things we're doing now that's just beyond being on the road. We want to be at the airport. We want to be by the grocery checkout store, by, everywhere that that there's a transaction being made. When you're in that mode of transaction, something is different. When you're in information mode, gathering mode, your mind is thinking differently. You're in thinking mode. When you're in action taking mode, transactional mode, commercial mode, you're thinking about the product, you're thinking about the purchase, you're thinking about the idea. Like, there's a lot of things you're thinking through, right? So when you're creating content, right, your content is always building tenacity because you're also creating connections for people who are looking for a solution you provide. I'll give you an example. This um, client in Memphis, right? I got to talk to him and I was like, okay, why is it that because I did research, and when you type it in, he's number one on the local pack. The 3 pack is number one because of all this local citation. So he's like, yeah, Favor, I can see myself. I'm number one, but I'm getting calls, then I'm not getting calls. Then the calls that are coming in, they're, asking about something different. And I was like, you know why they're asking something different is because and he was like, I told him from the beginning, I said, and he's had a very bad experience with SEO. So right now he's on his toes, but he's very calm. And I appreciate that because we connected on LinkedIn. And I was like, let's get on a Zoom call. Like, I want to have that face-to-face interaction, right? I just want to appreciate you for what you're doing for your business, for the community. So he hadn't connected his website to Google Search Console. Nothing was connected. This is a website he's paying for a domain year after year. He said he's hired marketing agencies to do their SEO. I'm like, what is SEO if a simple website is not connected to the search engine and you call that SEO? How define that? And a lot of people are being, you know, just not told the truth about that because, oh, my SEO is not content. Content is SEO. I'll say that again. SEO is not content. Content is SEO. Content is search engine optimized. So when you optimize your website for search, from the file name of your picture to the URL of your web page to the direct link on your website and the copy on that web page, that externally and internally and contextually, if you think about those three that I just said, think about that like a triad, right? Externally, internally, and contextually. Those are the three. If you look at a tripod, those are the three major factors. I'll say that one more time for the third time. Externally, internally, and contextually. Why? Because when it's contextually formatted, then you have a heading, you have a subheading, you have HTML hypertext markup language, which means you have bold, italics, underline, you have strike through, you have quote cards. Those things that you have, even on LinkedIn, people don't use them much, but those are major missed opportunities that people don't see because it's real estate, it's digital real estate. Real estate is not just a post here, post there. If your file name is in MB format, I talked about this yesterday, your website is going to slow down. You need to be in KB format. In other words, if you have big websites, 1 megabyte, 2 megabyte, 3 megabyte, 4 megabyte, 10 megabyte, you're slowing, and then times the number of images you have, you're pretty much sinking your own ship. That's really what's going on. And when you have a slowdown, it's like think about you driving and you put all the rocks on top of your car and you want to still drive that car on fast mode. It's not happening because you're dealing with force and applied weight and your pressure. Like if you think about physics and all the things, the friction, it's a lot. Like you need to create the easiest point of entry for the new visitor and the returning visitor to understand what you're talking about. So if you are creating content and this content is going to be turned on by this community, then they need to understand it. So when I asked him and I told him that this is the reason why these calls are not converting is because the questions that they have for you, you don't even know the questions they have. That was the problem. It was like a broken telephone. So I said, okay, let's do this. Before you want to run ads, because we're going to start running ads in his city next month. I told him this is a budget. So just prepare that budget so that you're not surprised when it's happening. So for now, we're going to create content that's going to create a commercial, competitive, contextual format that's allowing us to competitively give an advantage to his company because they don't know about his brand. So how do we do that in the fastest way? Commercial keyword research. That's what I turned on, right? And what's commercial keyword research? It means that you are, hey D, what's good? Good morning. Commercial keyword research is where you involve brands, right? Because digital billboards is about branding, right? You can't, if you're on a billboard and you're a brand, people have to look, if Nike just gives, like if you see a whole white billboard with just a check mark, nothing says nothing on it, you're gonna know what that is, right? If you see a billboard that just says is red and you just see white circles, you know what that is, right? It's Target. If you see the beaver, right? It's like Bucky's, right? You see it, you're like, okay, like you don't have to guess because you've been seeing it for so long, for years, for centuries, right? It's Coca-Cola, you've seen it for years, so you don't have to Google what that is, right? So it gets to a point where it becomes very common, right? But how do you get to that point is by starting charity begins at home, right? So who are you connecting with? Who's your neighbor? Who are you connecting with? How do you know, want to build and create connections? That's something that can really give you connection. Oh, D, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if D wanted to ask a question because of the wave, or she was just saying good morning. I'm not sure, but let us know. D's amazing. So you have to think about your zip code marketing. Marketing by zip code is the most important thing that you could do for your business, because when you're doing that, you're learning about your community, right? That is the best thing. And I think for me, why I started doing zip code marketing is because of the podcast. Oh, just saying good day. Okay. The element of surprise for people when you're connecting with them on a digital ad is so powerful. Like, think about it like this, right? Let's say your business. I've given this example. I have so many creative ideas because I've worked with creative advertising companies too, and it's so fun to see like how you can do something so creatively, and it's actually like it's a story, but it's a branded story. Think about this. Imagine if your brand, right? This is a free template you can use if you ever try this out. And if you want to try it out and we want to do it with you, let me know and we'll work that together. Imagine if you go to, like, somebody flies in, right? You know how many people fly in per hour, right? A lot of people. So imagine if you fly in and you're on a digital billboard in the state or in the city that your business operates in. For example, I just want to give a very hypothetical example, but directly to the context, right? And your business, they don't know your business, right? But if they read what your business does or sees what your business is, they can understand what you're doing. If it's a dental company, if it's a real estate company, if it's a food company, if it's whatever it is, right? You'll be able to tell them, even if it's close, like, hey, hey, we're here, hear about us, we're out here, we're number one in town, superior, quality. Like, you can do it in a way that is really nice, and then do it in a way that actually adds value to their day. So instead of you just saying, hey, check us out on this street, they'll be like, we don't know you, right? You can say it like this brand, fill in the blank, welcomes you to Houston. This brand welcomes you to New York. This brand welcomes you to Los Angeles. This brand welcomes you to Hawaii, right? And the brand is like, oh, thanks for welcoming me to this place. You know how it says, like, you're welcome, like you can go up and it's like, oh, welcome to the city. You see that everywhere. That welcome is like, we appreciate you. It may be very minute. It might be very m- like minor, but it says a lot about how you receive people. That's hospitality. That's 101, right? So if your brand is welcoming a new person to the city and they know about your brand, and when they're leaving the city, you're also you're also saying bye to them, or welcome, come back again, right? If they ever interacted with you during their stay and they saw your ad again at the airport on their way out, that says a lot about your business. You're probably targeting travelers or people who like to travel. And then you never know, those travelers might actually have a home base or might have relatives or, family or connections or, business connections that are in the city. Because you might be traveling for residential purposes or for commercial purposes, for business purposes, professional purposes, for other purposes, right? And you wonder what to do. I've always thought about being on a magazine on an airline, like, and somebody just, but these days nobody really, picks up the magazine. I don't know if when the last time you did that, but it's there. But that was then. Now it's like, okay, we're fast forward. How can we do this better? And zip code marketing is the best thing, because you think about when people fly in, they look for the best hotels, they look for the best experiences. So if you're running ads on a digital billboard and you're splitting your budget between a digital billboard ad and mobile ad, maybe on Pinterest, where you can save money. That's another whole topic. You can run it as a podcast, right? You can run it on news articles, right? I'm talking about like CNN.com, Forbes.com, menshealth.com. You can run it on those platforms and you can be charged per click, not charged per impressions. So we can get about 100,000 impressions, but you're charged per click. So it actually even gives you more brand awareness, because now you're actually on their mobile devices. You're in their faces on the screens, and you're doing that consistently for a whole month. So you partition your budget, you plan, you put your budget to the side and say, okay, 30% is going to go here, 70% is going to go there. All right. If this 30% is contributing to 28% of the bottom line, then how can we make that 70% 50% so we can contribute that 20% to the other side? So when you start doing that, you're kind of like shifting target weights, and that allows you to even be more specific with your goals, because with zip code marketing, it's not just about how zip code marketing works, it's where it works for your audience to receive the information with a happy meal or with a happy face or with a happy, satisfactory mindset, right? Because there are different ways as a business you can grow. But the moment you start to understand that your business is taking flight and people are seeing that, hey, this city, this brand welcomes you to this city, right? Now you are actually connecting with this person, right? And if you even go a step further, you might even have your product being sold at that store. It's possible, right? Because I remember having a client, and they do massage, they do mobile massage. Like I learned so much about my clients more than they learn about me or SEO, because I'm learning from so many businesses. It's such a beautiful thing because I learn more. The more I know, the more I don't know, right? So this company, they do mobile massage, meaning that they'll drive to you. She has a massage therapist that they'll drive, and it's professional. You know, if you want to do couples, if you want to do mobile, if you want to do even corporate as well, because I didn't even know that until she told me that companies, corporate companies and offices, they might even hire corporate massage, therapists to come and, maybe in between the day, depending on the schedule, in between work time, just to make sure that they can calm nerves and stuff like that. It's actually in people's budgets. I didn't know that till she told me. So I was like, huh. So that's when she now told me that there are actually people who are, when you go to some airports, you can see them doing massage. You can actually see massage parlors. There are businesses that do that at the airport, especially if you have a long layover. So she does that too. So I was like, this is a real thing. Because you just be walking in the airport, just going to your gate, not looking left or right. Sometimes I like to be observant, to be like, what's going on here? Like, why is this here? Like, it's very good for me to think through it. It's not because I'm going to do anything with it, but it just adds value to your movement and adds value to your day. So this is some things I've also noticed too, which are really, really exciting. Good morning, John. How are you? Welcome to the room.
Good morning, Favor. And I'm doing very well, thank you. I don't do the zip code marketing like you talked about. However, I do targeted marketing with Facebook ads. I target United States, Canada, Ireland, United Kingdom, men and women over the age of 30 with certain interests. And you made a key point: pay per click, not per impression. Having more impressions where people don't really notice doesn't really benefit me business wise. But having person click, even though I might be paying more, in the long run I pay less, it's more effective. So yeah, I agree with you 180%.
Thank you so much, John. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a big opportunity that you can actually get these people because it's impressions. Think about I think when you look at social media, it's ruled by impressions. If I really look at the formula, everything is ruled by impressions. If you have 200 impressions, 2,000 impressions, 20,000 impressions, 200,000 impressions, 2 million impressions, that's going to change something about your social currency value. Simple, especially on LinkedIn. When you start hitting like 50, 100 impressions, 200, 300 impressions, those are people. Because sometimes we think of impressions, we're like, oh, the impressions don't matter. Those are people. One impression matters because that one click, or that you're one click away from another bank statement. Like, think about your balance sheet. If you think about it financially and socially, right? How are you connecting with your audience? If you're balanced on an equilibrium scale, right? On the left side, you have social media. On the right side, you have your website. Those two are playing tag because you're creating owned media and shared media. That's the relationship right now. The platforms you're spending time on, like Clubhouse, this is shared media. Everybody can click on the share button, click copy, and share it out, right? We can all share this room. We can ping our friends in here. It's shared media. On your phone, on the iPhone, you can click share. If you're, thinking about it as well on, on the Samsung, on Android, let me just be open. You can, hit the settings and it will say share. Share where? Threads, YouTube, Mail, Facebook, Snapchat. Like you have the options to choose WhatsApp. Where do you want to send it to? Right? Because that's shared media. You are sharing intellectual property. It's not yours. You're just sharing it. You're just transporting it. Here's the link. Boom. That's shared media, right? Oh, have you heard this story today? Click here. That's shared media. Okay, top story today on CNN, on Fox, on wherever, right? Here's the link. Boom, you're on that property because that's where they're reading information. And the time that people read information also matters because if they're reading information between 4 a.m. and 10 a.m., and it's important information that may make or break their day, God forbid break it, but make a day that actually makes an impact for their end of day, right? Is to create content that even if you're connecting with one person or two people, that email that you send could just change somebody's day. Like yesterday, I sent an email to this workshop, right? Because I've been thinking, how best can I show people how to do these things that I'm talking about beyond audio learning or auditory learning? And I said, okay, I'm going to go back into how I did it in 2021, where I would go live. I used to do that on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook groups using Ecamm Live and with two M's. And it's a great platform. So I said, okay, I got to do it a little differently this time. So now I'm creating a workshop calendar whereby I can go on Zoom with you and you can sign up and either get, time or also get extra time too privately. And we'll set up everything, give you a template to work with. Because what I've realized too with workshops is when you have a workshop and you've given so much information, that application that you would have to do on your own is the real workshop. It's the real work, right? Because I've given you the toolbox. So now you got to figure out how to use this toolbox with this manual I gave you, right? When you get a chair, a desk, or something, and you buy it from the store, you're going to set it up. You're going to use the bolts, use the screws and the hammer. You're going to get it done, right? Because you're going to figure out how to build this thing, right? So you're not going to say, unless you want them to do it for you, then that's a concierge fee, right? So at any point in time, it's going to be done. But if you do it, you're saving money, but you're spending time. If you pay for that service, you're going to save time but you're going to spend money. So when it really comes down to who you're working with, who you're advertising to, where you're advertising at, it's different. If you're on Times Square and you're telling people to listen to your podcast on a digital screen, that's crazy. I mean, think about how many people would do that. And is that your audience? That's the first question. And if it's not, okay, move on. If it is, okay, where exactly? What street? Why? What brand is next to that street? What is below that billboard? Is it a building? Okay, what building is that? It's not just, oh, paste here and copy and everything, right? So you have to think about your business and really understand where are you taking your next steps in creating connections with people. And thank you so much, Richard, for that. I see that too. Sharing valuable knowledge. I thank you, appreciate you. D, it's a great observation. I would love to sell my brand apparel in the airport. Okay. Okay. All right. So that example I gave you, we can do that. And we can look into that. Okay. All right, D, we'll talk about that because we have a meeting soon. So I have that down because if you do that and that is like a welcome to the city track, game changer, because I was like, this is wild. And it's not just the US, this is the whole world. Like we're looking at longitudes and latitudes. Like it's beyond I don't even know. I feel like I love research. Sometimes I'm like, damn, I should be in another field because I can go deep on research because I love to like, figure out the clues, like figure out, okay, this is okay, why is it like this? It's complex, but we can fix it. And then eventually, bingo. Oh, that's why this happened. And then that way you're able to connect with those audiences because you know the response. If you're on the screen for 8 seconds and those 8 seconds are giving you probably 4 frames, you know how you can slide, 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 slide? The first frame is, hey, like that's either framework, attention, interest, desire, action, right? Or awareness. You're like, hey, you there? Looking for this? We got this, this, this. And by the way, before you leave, because you joined or you came to the city, here's a percentage off because you came to our city. They'll be like, huh? Okay, they'll take a picture. If they're walking, they can scan a QR code, and then they scan that code, and out of 2,500 people an hour passing through that street or passing through that terminal, right? That's 1% of the total available market. So if you do that for 30 days, you know what flights are going where. Like I'm going deep now. So you start saying, okay, in this month of September, what airlines, what flights, what cities, where are they going? And then from there, okay, from this to this place. So you also know where they're either coming to or going from. And then from there, it becomes easier because now you know, okay, the hotels they'll probably be at because the zip codes that they're coming from, if they have this amount of disposable income, they'll probably want to spend time at this hotel. So this is a commercial address with this commercial zip code. And if there's a billboard nearby, then that's bingo for you because now they actually saw you at the airport and now they see you close by a store. So it's like crazy, but it's possible, but it requires research. And that's the deep, like, because that's why a lot of companies do a lot of R&D, research and development, because by the time they understand, Apple does it every year. Any company that does it well does it every year because they think in decades. They think in decades. They don't think in years. They think in decades because they're like, okay, what's the 10-year roadmap here? We achieved this, 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 this. Okay, boom. What's the next thing? So when you have a digital billboard with zip codes, with advertising, even on Facebook, I'm gonna give you guys a really quick tip. I think I'm giving you guys really good nuggets because these are things that people will pay for. But I'm like, I don't know, I'm just being generous with this information. But I also want you to also apply it. But if you apply with us, great. And there's so much more you can do. I'm just giving you like hints here and there so that you can try them out on your own because sharing is caring, right? If you've ever tried this on Facebook ads, put a one in the chat. If you've never tried to put a two in the chat, when you run a Facebook ad, most times people put in the city or the state or the region. Have you ever put the zip code or have you ever put the exact location? John says one. Yes, let's talk about that, John.
Yeah. What you can do, so I'll use an example. Let's just say, and this is close to me, let's just say you have a pizza restaurant in Lake Worth, Florida. You can run a digital ad on Facebook and target that area. You can put a pin on the map of the area you're looking for and how far of an area you want. And then you can say what demographics you're looking for. You're looking for men, women, 30 years of age to 45 that have this interest, these things, and just pay per click. It is so ridiculously easy. I'm looking at the stats from an ad I did. Now I do them a little bit differently, but this is to get likes or follows on your page. And Favor brought a great point. Impressions or reach is great, but having just paying for that is so prohibitively expensive. That's the Times Square billboard, for example. That's a good bill. If you can afford it, great. So for the last ad I ran, it had a reach or impressions of 20,069. It developed 1,158 followers or likes, and only spent $146.09 because I paid per click. You can do that with Facebook ads. That's why I don't advocate for boosting. If you have an ad an organic thing that goes really well, copy and paste it and do an ad and put the selects of what you're looking for. So yeah, I hope that example helps. Favor.
It does. No, thank you so much for that. It shows that, people can see how they can budget their ads differently. Because when people spend $5 a day, are you spending it per click or are you spending it per impression? Is there a cost per bid? Like, is like, what is the actual metric value? Because those KPIs are going to be I would say the metric in itself is already the value that you need to quantify and also qualify so that.
Correct. And the thing is, I got the benefit of all the impressions and didn't pay for them, only paid for the clicks. That's the thing where you save the more money is you get the benefits, the impressions, especially if your artwork has a logo on it where people get the brand name recognition, then it can work two ways. If it's a specific product, it's a little bit different.
Exactly, 100%. Stephanie, we'd love to hear your thoughts too on that. And how do you see it too on your side?
Oh, absolutely. And thank you, John, for that information. And that's what I was speaking to earlier in the digital billboard space. When you develop your ads, and some of that can be outsourced too, if you have a specific product or service, you'll have to be the determining factor of your call to action, right? So that would be where someone would want to get with you, Favor, and handle that part, knowing what they wanted it to be. I facilitate the distribution of it. So where the power of what I have as an ancillary product to ATMs comes in is I get you in front of the face, right? So let's take your airport example. So for example, I have terminals all over airports, all over the country. So you know who's one of the major advertisers? And this could be the little guy or the big guy. I'm going to give you the big guy example. Travelocity. Travelocity is on probably I'd say three to 4,000 of my terminals. And because of that, they can say, welcome to, Fort Lauderdale, welcome to Miami, welcome to London. And that same example that you gave in the airport, that could also be the little guy, and they may take maybe 100 of my screens. They're still getting the exposure, they're still impressioning upon their target demographic. They may not be doing it at the scale of the big boys, but they're doing it so targeted and it's so concentrated that when they apply the data we can provide through the AI integrations and analytics, now they can determine, do I need more impressions? They can determine, do I need a different call to action? And I just wanted to say one other note on, it was a story that came to my mind when you were talking about driving by a static billboard and the difference between the two. Um, for example, I've been in South Florida for, I'd say, 25 years. And there's a company, local company, who has billboards. And I think John mentioned Florida. He might be here too. So he might know this off the top of his head. But this particular company repairs air conditioners and has air conditioning services. They have billboards all over
Your
town.
wife is hot. That one,
Yeah, your wife is hot. Yeah,
I
exactly.
can't
You
help
know
but
it. That's
notice
it.
that.
Okay, so that was the point I was going to make. Their tag, it catches your attention if you're running down 95. If you're on the interstate, you're going to see it. Now, what did I just say to you? I've been here 25 years. If my air conditioner breaks right now, I do not have a direct connect to them from that billboard. There's no call to action. Yeah, I know it's a cute hook. I got you. Your wife is hot. I get it. Right? The humor's there, the comedy's there, the attention's there. But if my air conditioner breaks right now in South Florida, I have no connection to them. I'm going to get on Google or Thumbtack and say, who's available right now to come and get me out of this South Florida heat? So that just speaks to it's one example of how the static billboards, to me are differentiated in that way. You might get some branding, but I'm telling you, after 25 years, I still can't tell you the name of the company. All I can tell you is good job on that tag, right? A good job on that hook. So that's my thoughts on that. I just wanted to throw that story in there because static billboards, yeah, I'm not, I don't know if I'd use the word obsolete. Maybe there's a place for them, but you're not going to get somebody driving down the road at 90 miles an hour, trying to avoid road rage that's going to stop with a call to action on a static billboard.
You just got me laughing here. It's so true. It's so true. No, thank you so much for that. That was spot on. John, I'd love to hear your thoughts too on the billboard and just the branding aspect.
And by the way, yeah, I do live in South Florida. I'm in West Palm Beach. So, Yeah, and Stephanie made a great point. I have no idea. I couldn't even begin to tell you who the company is with that billboard, with everywhere. However, on the other flip side, for billboard ads, and I'm not a big proponent of billboard ads. It depends on the industry. Hewlett is everywhere, and they do pest control. If I needed pest control, more than likely I'd be tempted to call them first, uh, because they really do an effective job of branding themselves. Other things, man, it doesn't seem to work as well. Radio ads work better for real estate. People in their car looking for houses. Um, Billboards might be great for restaurants. They might be great for branding, but not so good for direct response. Uh, so you got to really look what your budget is. And if you don't have a big budget, you got to figure out which one is going to, you mentioned it before, your key performance indicators. Which one is going to best fit your needs that you can do without a ton of money and get response from? That's the way I look at it. But Billboards, my big problem with them is the same thing with print ads in the newspaper. They're wonderful. They'll tell you what the potential reach is, but they don't tell you how many people notice you on the billboard when they're driving by. And they don't tell you whether even people looked at it or they responded to it, or if they, like the case of the Your Wife is Hot billboard, if they even know who you are. So you might be paying a lot of money for people who A, will never remember you, B, you're just throwing money against the wall because it looks good. Um, and I'll tell you who does advertising a lot, and I'll end on this. In South Florida, on billboards are radio stations and personal injury lawyers. Because radio, A, you don't like what you listen to, you can change it. You're driving right by it in the car, you can change the station. B, personal injury, when you have that car accident in your car driving past that billboard, now you have an idea who to call.
I'm gonna have to listen to this replay to hear that, because that was when I came in. I saw Stephanie laugh. I was like, there must be something John said that I missed. So I'm gonna check
It
it back.
It was the South Florida humor because what he was speaking to was the static billboards and the call to action that a radio station, for example, can have on a static billboard. But my humor and my laugh was his secondary example of if you've gotten into an accident, all the personal injury lawyers. And it was humorous to me because, let's face it, South Florida roadways, it's a nightmare out there. And so everybody's looking for who can I sue next? Ow, my neck hurts. Oh, ouch, you bent my toe in a fender bender at 2 miles an hour. So that was the humor there. It's a South Florida thing.
I get it. I get it. I get it. See now, because how was it? I lived in Winter Park, Orlando, when I was doing my Full Sail University graduate program in entertainment business, and it was really a vibe, and I loved it because Florida is just Sunshine State, amazing. It's beautiful, and you're right when you when you think about the billboards. Now that I think about it, it's like the billboards that are traditionally placed, to me, I don't know. It might be just my thought process, but I don't think they convert as faster or as more retentive as digital billboards now. Because somebody would gladly look at a digital screen for 8 seconds and see something that actually makes sense and decide to pull out their phone for the last 2 seconds before it switches. Or if you're in traffic, that's the best part, because I'm able to know, okay, what time is traffic? Because sometimes we want to guess, but we want to know by data points. So if I'm going to run an ad between 12 p.m. and 5 p.m., and I know there's rush hour between 2:30 and 4:45, for example, if I look at the live traffic and I see red on this street, then I know I'd rather spend more money on this lane than spend more money on that street, because I know that if there's traffic and it's 8 seconds, then I can spend maybe 30 more minutes with each and every one of them. That's an extra maybe 50%. And that way they can actually look at it twice and make a decision and actually look at go into the actual Google search, find it. So you're actually getting both first party data on site, and because they're coming to your website, and then they're also connecting with you offsite because they're looking at your picture. That's crazy. Stephanie, what did you, I wanted to hear.
Well, I was going to speak to something else regarding that. That was a powerful point that John made. So, for example, if I drive by said billboard, even if the radio station, for example, let's use that one, if they bring me in because that is an easy way to attract people, that is something that I can take action on while I'm driving down the road. I can turn to their station. But what I was going to say was a powerful point to his story was, where are the analytics for the advertiser? Where does the person who's putting their product or service out there, where do they get usable good data that they can turn into, for example, his Facebook ad? He knows what he paid per click and how many impressions overflowed from that. I just don't see that in the static world. And like I said, you got me all excited in the digital lane, because that's the lane I call home. So I'm not trying to put static advertising down, but what I'm saying is, from the perspective of the user, the advertiser who's trying to get themselves in front of people, where are you going to get good information that's usable? If 1,000 cars drove by and one person turned to the radio station, what are you going to do? You're going to spend more resources surveying, saying, where did you find us at? You know? So that was just a powerful point that he made. And I thought it was worth, discussing.
Oh yeah, 100%. I believe that too, because that static billboard you're paying for is to the company for the signage. That's literally the unit. That's the value you're getting, because you're on that street. That's the only thing they can formulate, because there's no, I don't even know how you can even, I don't even know. That would be really strange to figure that out, but if I had something like that, that's real estate, I would switch that to a digital billboard if I had a traditional one or a static one, and then use that and say, okay, in a day, if I'm putting this and it's right by this exit, then I can even reach out to all the gas stations in this exit and tell each of them, hey, you can put your billboard up here, instead of just putting it on the static where we always know it's on the right side to the exit. You'll know, okay, this is zero point 0.5 miles, da, 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 da. You already know that. You can use your Google Maps or Waze or Apple Maps, however you're driving. But if you have that on a digital billboard and all of those, I don't know, I just have this creative thinking process, but sometimes it's like, it's okay. They'll be fine, because when those things happen and you can create that cycle of connections with people, that's brand marketing, because there's 5 types of awareness, you know for businesses. 5 types. We don't really know all the types sometimes, but these are 5 types that you have to think about when you're most aware about something, if you are aware at all. And the first level of customer awareness is they're unaware. They don't know what's going on. They have no clue. They don't have a need or desire for what you're offering. They just showed up. They just walked into the mall. They don't even know you. So they don't have time, right? And they're really on the go, so you don't even have time to explain anything, so they are unaware. So how do you turn that person who is unaware to the second awareness, which is problem aware, right? If they're problem aware, you have to introduce the solution to the problem they are unaware of, right? So you're pretty much creating an educational cycle that is telling a story or sharing a statistic or giving them some type of information that makes sense. Like yesterday, I sent an email yesterday, and I told we just sent it out to over 7,000 people, and I said, "Hey guys, this I'm starting to do these workshops for real, and I've gotten some emails, some feedback, so I'm really excited about the calendar I'm creating for workshops this next quarter, right?" And I started off the email by saying, "Did you know that iPod plus broadcast equals podcast?" And I said, hey, here's a YouTube video and you can watch Steve Jobs, talk about it in 2005. And then I was like, events like those that he was in created memories that are outliving generations now and forth, right? Coming. So if you didn't know about the word podcast and you thought, oh, podcast is a coined word, if you didn't know that was a word, now you know, right? And then people will go do their research. So you're educating them. They were unaware. They didn't ask for the information. Let me just put it like that. They didn't ask for it, but the fact that you told them makes them aware, because they are interested in the connections that it's making to the context of the conversation, right? And that's indirect marketing too, because you're adapting that, right? And this is information you guys can check, right? It's from Eugene Schwartz. This is information you can go check. It's out there. It's for you to see it. But when you read, we just read posts, we just read likes, we read, captions, but we don't really read between the lines. So if you're problem aware, you're telling people about the benefits. Oh, this, why, instead of having a gas car, why not have an electric car? If you wanna, instead of an electric car, why not have a hydrogen car? Okay, why not have a solar car? Because those things are coming, right? We're in electric right now. I'm sure solar cars will be a thing. That's a prediction. It's probably happening. So when you start thinking about powering engines, powering devices, powering brands, powering information, right? Powering data, right? Now you're getting into a solution awareness mode, because now it's like, oh, okay, I'm aware of the solution in the total available market, right? And in this total available market, what is my market contributing to this market share? Is it 2%? Is it 20%? Where are we on the balance sheet, right? And then from there, you can start introducing your products from there. So it takes two levels for them to even hear about your product. So if you're trying to solve a problem, and if I was the one doing the creative marketing for that billboard, I would, if it's digital, I would do like a GIF where it's like, oh, your wife is hot, and then the next slide should be like, call this number, or or I put a website there, or maybe scan this code, or something that's going to fall in line with, okay, contact us, or we're the ones that told you to do that, or bring the solution and explain why. Because there's content and there's context. If I say digital marketing, you'll be like, okay. But if I say digital marketing, how to save time online by creating a profitable business using AI for problem solving solutions for your real estate business, that is so specific, because now you're thinking about how digital marketing works for your business, not just how it works in general. Because every car works, but every car is going to work differently, right? So from that problem aware to solution aware, they're now product aware. What do you provide? A unique USP? What is that unique selling point? What is your unique value proposition? What are you offering that is going to make sure that product is the right product that fits the right person? And then the most is they're most aware. They're most aware when you have discounts, when you have guarantees, when you have certificates, when you have licenses, when you have policies. They're most aware because they're like, okay, this person is serious, right? Because they want to do business with you, but they need to know how your business operates. So when you break down those barriers, then you're creating layers, right, of trust, of relationship, of buildings. Because you don't need 1,000 people. You need the right people to make the right connections, so that those thousands of people can connect with you equally, because there's something called act-alikes on Pinterest, just like there are lookalikes on Facebook. So that's how you're able to connect the two. So if you know where people go to, if there's an event, let's say it's a podcast event, right? And I have a billboard right at the commercial exit where there's a commercial building. That's where the event is going on. I know the address, I know the zip code. There's a billboard nearby. And we know that podcasters are connecting for this weekend. My podcast will be on that billboard because some people will be renting cars, some people would be Ubering, some people will be on Lyft. I use Lyft instead of Uber because Lyft also gives you Delta Sky Miles and points and all those things. So when you get all those rewards and everything, you can see who's driving where, what products they're using, what devices they're on. And then when they're using platforms that you know that they frequent on, that way you can connect with them, because that way, okay, my listeners use Apple. So let me talk about screens within this layers and connect with them on this budgets. So before you know it, they're looking up, they see your billboard, they look down, they see you on their phone. Before you know it, within that radius, you've built a connection that now when you actually look at your analytics, and this is the top city that's connecting with your business based on IP address and all those things, it gives you a more accurate way of measuring data in a very privacy enabled way that also gives back to the community. So when they're actually receiving information, it's value exchange. It's not just content exchange. So that's what I wanted to drop with as we, clear this out. And I hope this was helpful, y'all. So I wanted to start with you, Stephanie. What's your big takeaway? What would you let people know? And then pass it to you, John, and then we'll wrap up the room.
Hold on. Sorry about that. My mic definitely has issues in its tissues this morning. No, my biggest value takeaway personally was the information that you educated me on about SEO and tags and things of that nature. And the reason being, in my particular case, I grow my business through acquisition. So I'm not a big, I may go up and pick up a route of say 10 ATMs today that someone cannot operate. So my personal website has functioned as a stale business card in your jean pocket for the past 15 years. So that was probably my biggest takeaway and value that you gave. I thank you for that because again, my growth strategy is different in my business because I grow a different way other than just bringing random leads in. But I think that was super valuable. I hope that everybody in the room got a chance to hear that segment because it was really mind blowing. And I thank you again for that favor.
Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate you. Definitely looking forward to connecting with you too, as well. John, we'd love to hear from you too.
Sorry, I came in a little bit late. The main thing I stress to people is there's so much more you can do. And organic or free is certainly part of the strategy, but you can only do so much. And paid advertising, people ask if there's no easy button. There is an easy button. It's paid advertising. So no matter what you do, the work is getting ads that work, knowing what your needs are and what you can afford. So if they have, let's just say the digital billboard, it's on I-95 in South Florida. It's $10,000 a month for 3 months minimum commitment. I don't know what they charge, but I use that as an example. And you can't afford that. It doesn't matter if it's on special. But if you can afford 150 bucks, then do that. Make sure you find things that meet your needs and targeting not just the areas, but more than likely who is most. Here's the one thing Stephanie said, and being in South Florida, and you have some experience in Florida as well. You can spend that money in a billboard, but there's a significant percentage of people in South Florida that English is not their primary language. And they may be driving by that, and you're just Xing them out. You're spending money that you're not going to get business from because they don't even know what you're saying on there. Or they're having a conversation in their chosen language, and they're thinking their chosen language, and they drive by that, and it becomes gobbledygook to them. So focus on getting the attention to people that are most likely to consume your content, your product, your services, and make sure you measure the key performance indicators that you're not just wasting money. Favor as always. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much, John. So much value today. Wow. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, John. Wow. I've learned so much myself too. I did not know that was a price for billboards at this level without
I don't.
digital.
I
That's
think it.
crazy.
I look. I don't know. There's so many different companies. There's three major companies, but you're going to have for the digital. They do the artwork, they do set up there, everything else. It's probably around $3,000 per month, but there's a minimum on there. So whether they do digital or they do the static image that doesn't change, the digital is going to be cheaper prices. They flip flop between ads. They might have four different ads running on billboard, but if you get 100,000 vehicles a day driving by, what percentage of those are going to be interested in your content? What percentage will remember your content? What percentage will remember your name? What percentage speak your language? What percentage are even interested in ever doing business with you? So that's where you have to look at the cost factor.
Oh, yeah, that is so true. And when I'm looking at that percentage now, when I look at conversion value, it's anywhere between that 1 to 3% that has that conversion when you look at a 97%, 3% value exchange over time, quarter over quarter, year over year, share of voice, and just brand visibility and non-branded keywords and that are matching your brand. search. That's deep because now I'm thinking about this. If businesses are spending this amount and if they can make that back in a day or in a week, great. But the chances, especially when they don't get that data back, or if they get it, they don't know what to do with it. That's the problem because they're for profit. Great, fine. But the benefit for the business that is, that's putting their ad on there, is there any value exchange? Is there anything that's going to make people feel like, okay, let me turn left so that I can actually check this place out because I saw it on the billboard? It can happen, but sometimes the chances of that happening is at 3%. And I'm like, if people are spending that amount, imagine spending 10, 20% of that budget. If it's 3,000, you're spending, let's say, 1,000, and you're spending 1,000 across 4 boards. These guys will now tell you, these vendors, because they're, like you said, they're big ones out there, right? And I see their names under the billboards that we pick. So we're like, okay, this board costs $2.02 per hour. This board costs 86 cents per hour. This grocery store, this mall, this airport, like I see it, and it's a global thing. So I'm like, and then you see the street view. So you're able to even see what road, what what lane is it? So when I even say, is this the street? They're like, yeah, I know that road. I know that exit. I know that street. And then there's a billboard right there. And then it tells me, okay, these are the people between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. This is how much you get per hour. So it's very direct. And I show the numbers. So it's like, okay, if these brands don't show you these things, or these businesses don't even have time to show you these things, then we need to change how we do business for at least 2025, 2024. Now, some businesses are in a fiscal year and their Q1 starts October, right? So you have to think about how different businesses have different operations. So how you conduct policies and build structures. I'm learning as well. I don't know everything. I'm observing. That's one thing. I just love to be observant and research tactic able. I'm able to capably see what this could do. And if those numbers can help you do some more research and ask yourself, what is your advertising budget as a business? If of your total net income for the year, how much percentage are you contributing to advertising? And within that advertising budget, can you split that budget into digital billboards and digital media within social or within search? And then you can be able to see, okay, where are we benching more on? Are you brick and mortar? Are you online only? Are you strictly hybrid? Like, how does it work? And then that way it just makes it easier for you. And then people get to experience your brand because those impressions matter. Sometimes when people come back to your website, it's not that they're looking for, like, they're looking for something, but you're probably not providing what they're looking for because you've not given them the answer. Because what I was saying earlier with that mobile drug testing store in Memphis, I started noticing that he told me one thing that, is what he wants people to come to his store for. But in retrospect, he has a multitude of other key searches that we found that will allow him to even get more than the things that he asked for because we plugged in his Google Search Console on his website. And then we're able to look at those numbers and crunch it. So now he's looking at the spreadsheet to know, okay, out of these top topics, what can we talk about that's going to bring them back? And people don't really know this, y'all. This is a big gem. People don't know this. And real estate does it the best, right? When you think about real estate sites, they do it the best. You can put a zip code as a URL, right? It's numerical value, it's HTML, it's numbers. So if you're writing content and your chapters have the zip code that you're connecting with, you can do so much within those page categories and build. I'm giving you all this. I'm like, hey, take it, do it. But when you apply it, it's going to be great. But the time to apply it and the research behind the application is now where you get into the stuck in the mud section. So I don't want that to be your goal point or focus point. Your factor right now should be, how do I connect with the person that needs this information right now? The best thing you can do is start a podcast. People say it's time consuming, but imagine 10 years from now, people are still listening to your audio. 10 years that you did a show that is still impacting lives 10 years later, right? All your social media posts have real estate on a platform that you can actually control, which is your website, which is your YouTube, which have videos that you could index, which has a library you can actually store, which is coming from videos that are long form. So you have intellectual proprietary information that you can distribute year over year over year over year. Like if I stop doing content on Clubhouse today, all these hourly rooms can turn into shorts for the next years, right? Because they still value in those things, but some people have to do those things. So it's so important to look at those things as well. Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate you so much. Would you like to say anything before you go?
Yeah, with my hospitality, I didn't want to just bounce. I have to run for a 10:30, but as I said in the chat, thank you so much for what I consider. This is the first time I've joined a space in months, and it was your title. You just drew me in, and I'm so thankful for you sharing these gems. And I mean that. I mean that genuinely, because I don't know if people get enough or know how to act enough on this kind of information. So you're bringing that here. So I hope everybody's empowered by it, and I hope everybody makes it a great day. And please, anytime you're talking this talk, make sure I get notified. Also, one last point, all that research I shared with you, Favor, please enjoy it, dig into it, pay it forward, and share it with your audience, because it's really phenomenal when you dig into the real numbers of what's going on in this space and how it can empower people. So with that said, make it a great day, guys. Thanks for letting me join, and go crush it, whatever you're doing today. Get you a nice creative ad.
That part. Thank you. Thank you so much, Stephanie. I appreciate you. Yes, guys, I'll definitely check the message. And if you guys want that information, please, I will be able to give that to my audience, now with Steph's approval. And you can click the link above, sign up, because I'm going to send exclusive updates. There are things that I talk about exclusively that I don't talk about even on Clubhouse. So if you want to get that information, it's also value exchange. And it's something I just don't want to just give out. I want to make sure that you exchange that and care for it. You pay attention to what you pay for. So those are some things that you have to pay time into. So thank you again for listening. I hope this helped you. Listen, tomorrow is a great day. It's going to be Thursday, and I'm going to be talking about something in the room that came from yesterday's room. Shout out to Carrie, an amazing friend of mine. She does amazing work with the clean solutions and the natural, eco-friendly solutions. So she asked a question yesterday, and she's like, "Favor, do you want to do a room on freebies?" And I was like, I've never done that. So tomorrow I'm going to do a room on Freebie Fridays. And I now put in context, is free really free? That's going to be the title. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And I can't wait to talk about that with you so we can actually have that conversation. And I can't wait to connect with you all. If you want to join the workshops, we have one actively on October 1st. And if you want to get in touch with that, please click the link above so that you can get more insights and you'll be able to be redirected to that page. So until then, God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. And I'm going to see you guys. And thanks, y'all. Bye.